Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy August 5th. Can you believe it? We made it to August. Next month is September already. As you can see, I have like my Halloween apparel on. August is over. This is it. This is the only workout you guys are gonna get. All right. So today for this workout, I promised weights. So just a little quick instruction before we start with our warm up. I did have initially a 10-pound dumbbell weight, but I actually decided to do something a bit more creative for anyone who didn't have weights at home. So whether you're grabbing, a bottle of water to suffice, or let's say if you have like maybe like a little maybe 2-pounder or a 5-pounder, that'll be great. Or if not, if you have something that's a household object or something, or even yoga blocks, this is a great substitute, because today we're going to be doing weighted cardio. We're going to focus on our core, and we're also going to be doing our upper body. But first things first, we're going to get into it. We're going to do our warm up. So now that you guys have seen what we're going to be doing today, I'm going to move this chair over. And the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna warm up. We're gonna do our shoulders. So we're gonna go forward, and we're just gonna open up our shoulder blades. I hope everyone is having a great start to August. And as you're warming up with me today, we're just gonna do a little bit of shoulder. Just open them up light, nice and light. Take a deep breath, let it out. When you feel like you're nice and loose going forward, I want you to stop. And then we're gonna bring it back. So we're gonna go in the opposite direction now. And one thing I wanted to do is to switch it up a little bit today. I wanted you to keep a phrase in your head while you work out with me today. Now, the beautiful thing and the creative thing is that you get to choose whatever phrase that you want. So that could be, I'm strong, I'm capable, I'm beautiful, I'm focused, I'm disciplined, I'm consistent. Whatever it is, that's something that you're working on. I want you to choose a very simple phrase, something that you can remember all throughout your workout. And other than following along with me, I want you to keep that phrase in your head. So one thing I'm learning to do with the month of August is to be disciplined. So the phrase for today for me is gonna be, I'm disciplined, I'm disciplined, I'm disciplined. And whenever you feel like you start to strain your workout, or perhaps, you're not feeling it today, or like maybe it takes you a little bit more to get your body going or moving, or just you're not feeling it, I want you to say your phrase that empowers you, that makes you feel strong from the inside out. So whatever your phrase is, give yourself a second, come up with something, whatever the first thing that comes to your mind, whatever you're struggling with, create its counterpoint. And say that phrase to yourself. So today my phrase is, I'm disciplined. And hopefully at the end of today, you'll, in the group chat at the end of our workout, you'll tell me what your phrase was, and keep that with you moving forward throughout the month of August. And the next time you see me in September, I'll have something new for you. All right, so the next thing that we're gonna do, we opened up our shoulders, so now we're gonna get into our little wide stance, and we're gonna go up with our hands. We're gonna reach towards the ceiling. We're gonna arch back a little bit, and then I'm gonna come down. I'm gonna point towards the camera, sending you good vibes. And we're gonna come down. And again, if anyone has a back problem, please be mindful, you don't have to go all the way down. I just want you to do a nice light stretch. And then we're gonna come up, we're gonna do this one more time. We're gonna arch back. So right now I just have a slight arch to my back's like this. And we're reaching towards the ceiling, my head's coming up, so my eyes are up here. We're gonna reach back. And then I'm gonna come forward towards the camera again, like I'm reaching towards you guys. And then ever so lightly, I'm gonna go down. And for me, I feel the pull back here, which is where I want you to feel it, because we're doing upper and lower body today. So we're gonna just mix up the warm up a little bit just to get our bodies nice and loose, okay? All right, we're gonna do that one more time. We're gonna go up. Let out a deep breath if you need to. And as you're coming down, remember, whatever your phrase is, I want you to keep it in your head. So mine is, I'm disciplined. I'm disciplined. And for me, that can be discipline with anything. That could be what you're eating right now. That could be what you're choosing to think about, what you're choosing to focus on. Mine is, I'm disciplined for the month of August. So whatever your phrase is, keep that in the back of your head. So now that you guys are here with me, I just want you to go as low as you can to the floor. You don't have to touch the floor, but until you feel just a little bit of tension being created where your hamstrings are and the back of your legs are, your calf muscles. So I just want you to go down and just create enough tension where you can hold it for a couple seconds. And then you're gonna come up and release the tension, okay? Excellent job. All right, if you have to shake it out, because I know for me, like once my legs get a little tense, I have to like loosen up my legs. So if you have to just shake Get your body nice and loose. All right. And now we're gonna come here, we're gonna come forward, we're gonna do our hands out. And we're just gonna twist our body to the side and just hold it. Very simple, just gonna come out. And right now I'm just in a wide stance, my feet, nothing crazy. I call this like my tree trunk stance because I have a wide base. And then we're just gonna take our hands. And we're just gonna stretch. Forward. Once more. This way. And one more time, just gonna finish on this side. Excellent. Remember, I want you to keep your phrase in your head today. So mine is I'm disciplined. All right. So the next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just loosen up my lower body a little bit. I introduced like this little technique in my last workout program a couple weeks ago, and we're just gonna come up, and we're just gonna open up our hips. So right now I'm just going back. I'm taking my hip muscle, I'm bringing it out. I'm doing like a little circle, and I'm just bringing it up. If you need the chair for any purpose, if you need to create like a bit of balance for yourself. If you have a partner, you have somebody with you, or you pull onto a wall, feel free. And nice and light, just open up your hip muscles until they're nice and loose. And again, you go at your own pace, you just follow along with me until you feel ready, and we're gonna stop. And now I went this way, and now I'm gonna go the opposite way. So I'm gonna go forward now, like I'm reaching forward towards the camera. So we're gonna go forward now. Okay. Just gonna hold it. Excellent. Now I'm gonna do the same thing on this side, okay? So I'm gonna take my left leg, I'm gonna do my little circle, and I'm gonna go outward. So I'm reaching towards my chair. And again, this is just gonna open up your booty. It's gonna open up the muscles and, you know, the joints in your pelvic region. Everything's pretty much surrounding like the hip joint. Okay. All right. Now we're gonna do a little bit going forward now. Whenever you feel loose, you could just stop. You don't have to overdo it. This is just a warm up. I like when my body's nice and loose. Next step, we're gonna go down. We're gonna take our time with our warm up today, just because I want our upper body and our lower body to be nice and loose. Just because today we are doing upper body and core, but we are using our legs for a good portion of it too. We're not gonna be seated too much for today's workout. If you can, I'd like you to just go down in a squat position. Nothing crazy, not anything formal. I just need you to get low. Almost like a little kid, almost like a catcher's mitt. So I want you to come down. So just sink into your butt. For your stance, I just want your stance to be wide and go down all the way that you can. And if you need to, go forward and just touch the ground. And what that's gonna do is I want you to just sit in your hips for a little bit. And then if it gets too tense, I want you to come back up. Just to reduce the tension. And then just to stretch out, you know, your inner and your outer thigh muscles, you're just gonna come down. Take a deep breath, let it out. Hold it for a couple seconds, nothing crazy. And then we're gonna come up. And then we're gonna go drop down one more time into our hips. Again, we're just opening up our hip muscles and our legs. And you're gonna come up. So one of the reasons why I tell you just to come up as opposed to holding it for an extended period of time on the floor, which you can, that's another option. I just don't like to do that for somebody who has like, you know, knee issues, or they have trouble with their pelvis region, or they can't remain squatted for that long. It's not reasonable or realistic for people who can't do it. So again, go down, come up, and just like loosen up your body a little bit. And if you need to, just do a nice rotation with me to the front, to the back, to the front again, to the back again. We're almost done with our warm up. We're gonna come back up now. We're gonna transition up to the upper body. So you're gonna come up with me. And you're gonna take your arm, my left arm, we're gonna wrap around the head and pull the elbow down. So it looks like this. Very simple. All right, we're gonna hold that. We're gonna come up again. Elbow comes down, other arm comes up. We're gonna pull gently. Okay, one more. This is our last stretch for upper body, and then we're gonna get into the good part, we're gonna get into the weights. And very simply, you're just gonna hold it for a couple seconds, you're just gonna pull your shoulder that way. We're gonna come out. And we're gonna pull the shoulder that way, okay? I hope you guys feel nice and loose because my body feels great, but feel nice and warm. Remember, whatever your phrase is, if you just jumped onto the workout, we're doing phrases that make us feel empowered, moving into August. Something that you're working on. I just want you to come up with a phrase that makes you feel empowered throughout your workout, and maybe something that you can come back to outside of your workout. Okay, excellent job. So now we're gonna jump into our upper body workout today. And these are gonna be like our pretend weights, as I mentioned earlier in my introduction. So I mentioned it in my last exercise video if you were here. We're just gonna be doing some basic drills for biceps, triceps, and some other fun things I have for you guys. So for these purposes, you can pretend that these are 5-pounders, these are 2-pounders. If you have weights, great. If you don't, perfect opportunity to get creative and find something in your home. Water bottles too are a great alternative. You'd be surprised, but this is 16 ounces, almost 17. This after, 10 reps and then 20 reps, depending on how many sets you're doing. This starts to create tension and a hurt in the muscle, which is what we want, because you have to break in order to build. All right, so let's get to it. All right, so we're just gonna do basic biceps. I'm gonna stand for this today just because I feel I wanna be on my feet. So we're gonna go. So if you have your dumbbell set, or if you have your weight set or your waters, or if not, I can do it without weights too in a minute. We're just gonna be doing a basic bicep curl, very simple. So you see how my biceps are tucked in? We're just gonna loosen them just a little bit where I'm not like contracted all the way in, but nice and tight and firm where no one could slip their arm through completely, but not enough to the point where no one can get through, if that makes sense. So we're gonna tension up the bicep, we're gonna bring it up, and we're gonna drop it down. Bring it up, and we're gonna drop it down. For anyone who's not using weights, say you're using the water bottles, it's the same thing. You're gonna contract the bicep muscle, and on the way down, you're gonna relax it. Okay, so first set, we're gonna do that for, we're gonna do 2 sets of 10, so it's gonna be 20 in total, so the first set is 10, okay? So if you follow along with me, I'm gonna keep my weights here. I have a very basic stance, nothing wide, just, for me, shoulder width apart, maybe a little bit smaller. So we're gonna just do 10. So we're gonna go 1. You're gonna hold it. And for you guys without weights, what I want you to do is when you come up, I want you to really contract the muscle in your biceps. So even for me, like these don't weigh a lot, but the whole purpose of this is to get creative with your workout in the event that if you're not at a gym and you need to work out and you just want to get a good upper body workout, you're going to work a little bit harder, but you're going to contract this here and you're going to hold the muscle, you're going to hold it that much more firm because you don't have a lot of opposition in terms of weight that you're working against. Even with things like this, you do this enough times, trust me, it'll hurt after a while. Today we only have an hour to show that, but. All right, so I'm on number 6 now, and I'm really clenching my muscles as I'm bringing them up to create that tension and that contraction in the bicep, and I'm relaxing as I go down. This is number 7. That's number 8. Number 9, and one more. Number 10. Normally you could drop your weights, you put them down, you throw them on the floor. iPad storage full. Can everybody, okay. Sorry guys, we had a momentary glitch. Let's get back to it. All right, so now we did our first set of 10. We're gonna transition over now. Same exercise, except we're gonna do our next set. So we're gonna do 20 total. So now we're going on from 10 to 20 now. All right, so we're gonna get back into that position. If you need to wiggle your arms, if you need to shake them out, if you need to take a 30-second break, depending if you have weights or dumbbells, please do so. I don't want you to over tear the muscle. That's not the point of this. Today's big thing is going to be about form, about consistency, and also just about creating that tension during that contraction period so that you can get the whole purpose of what you do when you do a bicep curl when you have weights. Because once you have your form down, it's simple after that. Form is really big when you're doing weightlifting. All right, so we're going to take this 10 more times, and then we're actually going to move on to our next upper body exercise. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1 more. All right, I'm gonna drop my weights real quick, shake out my arms, take a sip of water if you need to. Remember, come back to your phrase, mine is undisciplined. So again, we're gonna come back to that as much as we can throughout this workout, okay? So the next thing that we're gonna do is something I've introduced very early on when I first started doing this position. It's called bent over rows. And it's probably one of my favorite exercises to actually do with bigger weights. So for today's creative purposes, we're gonna use my blocks, which in your head could be 5, 10, 2, whatever. 2 pounds, doesn't matter. All right, so bent over rows, like for me, the way I'm gripping my weights, I have just a good grip on it. And the same thing with your weight. Let's say if this was my dumbbell, you wanna just make sure that your hand is wrapped around, like the middle section, and have a good grip on it, not too tense in the wrist. And then you're just gonna grab it, contract, or we're gonna go this way today with these bent over rows. So just make sure ultimately you have a good grip on your weight. You don't wanna break it, you don't wanna hurt your wrist. So it's important. All right, so the next step we're gonna be doing is bent over rows again, and today's gonna be very simple. So we're gonna do 2 sets of 10. So again, this exercise is also gonna be 20 for upper body workout, okay? All right, so what we're gonna do is now I'm gonna turn this way so you guys can actually see me do it. All right, so I'm gonna keep my same stance, so shoulder width apart, nice and loose. And then for this, actually, I'm gonna widen out my stance just a little bit. So shoulder width apart and a little extra, right until you feel comfortable where you feel balanced, okay? So for me, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go forward in my bent over row, right? And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop my weight just a little bit. And what I'm doing is I'm using the camera actually to help me so that I can see how my back is straight. It's not like all the way down, it's not hyper extended the other way, So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go down, we're gonna take our weights, and we're gonna bring them up. So we're gonna go down, and the weight is coming up here. So these are called bent over rows. So for me, I'm looking straight ahead, I'm taking my weights, and I'm bringing them up into my chest muscle. So to see this from the front, it looks like this. So I'm gonna go forward, my back is straight ultimately. I'm gonna go down, and I'm gonna bring them up. And then you're gonna drop them, and you're gonna bring them up again. So you can see it from all angles. So we're gonna go down, and we're gonna go up. And what I want you to do too is you're gonna keep your back straight the best that you can. Because again, you don't wanna hurt yourself, but on top of it though too, you wanna make sure that you're working the appropriate muscles. Okay? All right. So again, we're just gonna get into our nice little stance over here, a little bit more than shoulder width apart. We're gonna go down, we're gonna keep our back straight the best that we can. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take it down, and we're gonna bring those weights up. We're gonna hold it, and we're gonna drop them down. And we're gonna just do 10. And for you guys without weights, again, what I want you to focus on is your form and really contracting the muscles as if you had weights. I'm on number 5. You guys are doing great with me so far. Remember, whatever your phrase is in your head, I want you to keep it in your head and say it out loud if you need to. All throughout this workout, whatever your phrase is, I want you to come back to it. So mine is that I'm disciplined for today. And everything that I do, everything that I think, everything that I am, I'm disciplined. They say that discipline too is also a big form of self-love. So if that's something that you struggle with or something that you think that you can be better at, a good way to do that is to show up for yourself. Whether that's coming to today's workout, doing something that you said you were gonna do and finally doing it. Or if not, just showing up for yourself, whatever that means to you. Going to the gym, going for that walk, talking to that friend that you haven't spoken to. All right, guys, so we got 2 more. Gonna hold. All right, excellent job. Whew. All that contraction, got me nice and loose already. All right, so normally you could drop your weights. For me, these are really light, but again, I'm starting to feel it all over my upper body already, in my muscles and my back actually too, just because I'm contracting all my muscles to keep my form straight, in addition to doing my bent over rows. So we're gonna take that 10 more times. So I'm gonna get back into that position now, and then we're gonna transition over into triceps, okay? All right, so again, shoulder width apart, a little bit extra, just so that you're nice and balanced if you need to, otherwise you can keep it shoulder width. For me, I kind of like a wider stance so I don't fall over. All right, so we're gonna bend over now. With our weights, we're gonna try to keep our back straight the best that we can. We're gonna come up. And again, you see how the weights are dropping down, and then I'm bringing them all the way up past my chest muscle. This is meant to use the chest. This is meant to utilize the chest and the back muscles, depending on how much you're contracting them. And then I'm gonna turn this way to finish out my last three so you guys can see it. The bent over rows straight. Two more. Sorry for anybody counting at home if I'm off by like one. I'll do one more. So ultimately, you're supposed to do 20 in total. And we're good. Excellent job. All right. So I'm gonna put those down for a minute. Take a second. Just gonna stretch out my back again. Hands up if you need to. Just because again, you're doing an upper body workout, so it's important too if you feel the need where your upper body's a little tense again after doing it. It's normal. Stretch it out. Personally, another thing is though too, if you're ever in the gym and you see people after they finish a set and put their weights on the ground, they kind of just stand there. For me, I much prefer to be moving. So if I have to, even if this is during my relax period, like I would prefer to move, or at least to kind of just, put my hands on my hips and sort of walk around for a little bit. But for these purposes, since I'm with you guys, I can move my upper body, get my upper body nice and loose again, and then just jump back into it. All right, so excellent. So you guys did 20 bicep curls, you did 20 bent over rows, we did an amazing warm up so far, and now we're gonna transition into triceps. So I know I mentioned this earlier, so your tricep acts in a synergistic relationship with the bicep, and all that simply means is that there are two parts that come to help each other. One is the main muscle, the other is the background muscle, and they come together to help each other. So when one is being used, the other is using as a force to relax it, or to kind of, it's almost like an opposite force that's there to help it. And the same thing happens, the relationship changes when one muscle is being utilized and the other isn't. So now that we're focusing where we were doing biceps before, this was the helper muscle, now it's gonna be the inverse. Now that I'm targeting this muscle in the back, this muscle here is gonna be the helper to the wings in the back, okay? All right, so what we're gonna do now is, actually, I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna use my water bottle. Just because this resembles more of a weight. We'll get back to that in a minute. But if you do have a water bottle, if you have a 16 ounce, or if you have something that you can hold on to, whether it's a dumbbell or a little yoga block, something at home, what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab your weight. Again, this is actually gonna be shoulder width apart. You're gonna come up. One of my favorite exercises to do in the gym actually is this with about 10 or 15 pounds. You're gonna grip your weight like this. Both of them are gonna be together. I mean, both of your hands are gonna come around the weight like this. We're gonna come up above our head, and we're gonna drop the weight, and we're gonna come right back up. So we're gonna go slow in our form going down, and we're gonna shoot it right back up. And I'm gonna show it from this side and from the back. So what we're gonna do is we have our weight, right? So I'm gonna come above my head. I'm gonna make sure that my elbows are sort of tucked in, not too close, but not like flared out either. That's what I don't want. I don't want your arms out here. I don't want them too close to your head. I want them right here, where they're close, they're concise. And you see that form, and we're gonna bring it right back up. So I'm gonna show it from the back real quick. So again, I have my weight, I have it above my head. My elbows are tucked in ever so slightly, nice and controlled. We're gonna come down with that weight, and then we're gonna spring it back up. So we're gonna go nice and slow, because we're gonna pretend for a second that this is like our 15-pound weight. And we're gonna bring it right back up. So the whole point of that is when you're doing it slow, just like we did our bicep curl going up, the tricep is gonna be contracted when we go down. So when we go down, this muscle gets pulled up and back. So when we go down, and for you guys too, you can learn to contract this muscle as you're going down, or create the tension that you need to. Because again, this is only 16 ounces, but if you do it enough times, it will hurt after a while. So that's what that's our tricep exercise for today, very simple. And remember, you're gonna go slow down, and then you're gonna snap it back up, okay? So we're gonna go slow, because we're trying to build it, and we're gonna snap it back up, okay? All right, so I'm actually gonna go back to my yoga block. And what I'm gonna do is, again, since my yoga block is like this, I'm gonna bring it up above my head. And then we're gonna do 10 of these. We're gonna do 20 total. Our first set is 10, okay? So I'm gonna hold it, remember, stance, feet are shoulder width apart, nice and light, nothing crazy. All right, so I have it here, have my weight, and we're gonna go down, and we're gonna snap it back. And while you're doing that, I want you to focus. And as you're coming down, other than the count or the repetition number in your head, I want you to say your phrase in your head today. So that's number 3. I am disciplined. I am able. I am capable. Whatever it is, it's important that you learn to retrain that voice in your head. You know, today's world, I was having a conversation with my brother yesterday. You know, the world isn't so great out there right now, if you could see. So, and what I mean to say is that because there's so much negativity on things like the news or, you know, the newspapers or on social media right now, it's important that you learn to train that voice in your head that, you know what, not everything in the world is bad. You know, there's a lot of good, like when you come to these wellness classes, with all the amazing coaches I've met in passing, and virtually myself when I go to participate, we're going on number 6. It's important that there is good in the world. You just have to find it and look for it. And if you can't find any good, well, guess what? That's a good thing. That means that you're the good in the world. And it can be hard with so much negativity, but you know, the whole reason for this class is to, you know, make you better. You chose to make you better by coming today, even if it's learning something or being with me. All right, so we're gonna take that 2 more times. Snap it back. And 1 more time. And we're gonna snap it right back. Whew. So for me, guys, like I'm starting to feel it all within my upper body, which is great. I'm actually gonna take a sip of water. And if you need to take like a 10-second break, feel free. Check out your body. Give yourself a minute. Let's see how we're doing on time so far. Excellent, guys. We got half an hour, so we're doing great because once we're done with our second set of reps for our tricep muscles, we have 1 more upper body, and then we're gonna go into our we're gonna focus on our core with weights. Okay, that's gonna be our second set of exercises. So we're gonna finish off this strong, and then we have 1 more exercises where we're gonna do front raises. But first, we're gonna finish our tricep muscles, and we're gonna hold our weight. We're gonna bring it up. Remember, nice and tight, but not too tight. We're gonna bring that weight down, and we're gonna do 10. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Excellent job. All right, so now we're gonna transition. Again, we're just gonna go into our next exercise. So we're gonna be doing what we call front raises, and it's gonna be with weights, again, because we're doing upper body today. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our weights, and very simple, I'm gonna get into my my normal stance, which is just shoulder width apart, or until you feel balanced. And with our weights now, excuse me, we're gonna hold them, and very simple, I'm gonna start at my base, so I'm gonna start home, and we're gonna lift our weights like I'm lifting towards the camera, and then we're gonna go down. And very simple, this is the front raise. So normally when you do this exercise, right, with weights, you'll feel it more. But again, today we're gonna work on form, and we're also gonna work on what we have. And that's a big thing about being creative. Sometimes you have to work with what you have. Sometimes you find out that's some of the best exercises when you're fooling around and you're just trying to learn something new, and you stumble upon something that's not traditional, but it's fun, it's interesting, and it's exciting because it's brand new to you. So very simple. I'm on number 4 right now, going on number 5. And we're gonna come up. We have 4 more, guys. So very simple, we're gonna hold the weights out, hold them down. And then I'm gonna pause for just a second. So for anybody who does not have weights, So what I want you to do is I want you to ball up your fist nice and tight, not too tight. But we're gonna come up, we're gonna hold it, we're gonna tense, and we're gonna come down. We're gonna hold it, we're gonna tense, and we're gonna come down. So we're gonna hold it, we're gonna tense for a couple seconds, and we're gonna come down. One more. So this is for people without weights. You're not supposed to hold your weights like with a really deadly grip, but for people without them though, what I want them to do is I want them to learn how to tense their bodies when they're coming up and then drop the weights as they come down. Okay? So that's for people without weights. You know, if you're kind of figuring out, well, what happens if I really don't have weights? I don't know what to do. Well, you learn to use your body. That's some of the best workouts too, is when you don't have any equipment and you really just need to work up a sweat. You need to learn how to utilize and trust your body, and also learn different ways how to utilize it, and also be effective with it. And then with your time as well. Okay, so we're gonna do our front raises again. I'm gonna do them with my water bottles now, actually, just so that everyone kind of gets a good mix of today. Our water bottles are actually, I wanted to use the yoga box, I really wanted to use them. But in terms of these, the 16 ounces, these are great alternatives to like 2-pound weights, or I'm not sure if you convert it over how much the weight is in either grams or pounds. This is 500 ml, so I'll do that math for another day if I'm working on chemistry. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just get into our stance again, and we're gonna start here. We're gonna start at our body, and we're gonna come up, and we're gonna come down, and we're gonna do that 10 times. So we're gonna come up. And if you have weights, this is great. So if you have like maybe 2 or 5 pound weights, you're gonna feel it so much more. But for today, just do your best. And again, come back to whatever your phrase is for today. Again, mine is I'm disciplined. And hopefully that'll start, something good for you. Sometimes, like all the negativity that's going on in the world, sometimes positivity also needs to gain a little bit of momentum. So with that phrase, whatever it is that you're holding in your mind, mine is I'm disciplined. Well, maybe that'll lead to what other things can I do? What else can I be? What else am I? Right? So I'm capable. I'm consistent. I show up for myself. Whatever that looks like to me. I'm not my past or my future. I'm right now. And if right now isn't so great, one thing I'd like to pass along to you that my mother has always taught me is that tomorrow will be a better day. And you keep saying that until tomorrow is. So if your present isn't great, so right now, for whatever reason, it's okay. Tomorrow will be a better day. And you keep showing up for yourself. All right, so we're gonna take this 4 more times, guys. We're gonna hold it. We're gonna drop our weights. And again, we're doing our front raises. 3 more. 2 more. Last one, okay? I will do 1 more. Excellent job. All right, everybody. So I'm gonna put my other weights down for today. All right, so now we're gonna leap over into our core with our weights. And the first exercise we're gonna be doing, you're actually familiar with this one. So it's the weight above your head. This is a great one if you actually don't have any sets of dumbbells or water, or the yoga, what do they call it, yoga box. So this is great. So if you don't have any of those things, that type of medium with this exercise, doesn't matter. This is great for you just to do without a weight, so everyone feels included. So for these purposes, I am gonna take my water bottle. And what I'm gonna do is very simple, and I've done this before in order to utilize my core muscles and to really work my core and to strengthen it. So very simple, we're gonna we're gonna have a good grip on our weight, our pretend weight here. We're gonna hold it, we're gonna bring it above our head. And then if you need any type of balance, please feel free if you have a chair near you, if you don't feel comfortable. For me, I really don't need it. I only do that if I'm weaker on one side or if I feel a little off balance for the day. Utilize the space around you, it's important. What we're gonna do is we're gonna have the weight above our head, and then simply we're gonna bring our right leg, We're gonna hold it for just a second, and we're gonna drop it back down. We're gonna bring it up, and we're gonna drop it back down. Up, and drop it back down. So what you're doing is not only are you working your lower body, but you're working your upper body in terms of your abdomen region. So you do this enough time, trust me, these, the exercises I've noticed, at least for myself, being the instructor, I've noticed it later on throughout the day. So I don't know if you guys have ever been here with me and you're fine with your workout, you're like, oh, that was great, I got through it, I did it. And then progressively throughout the day, I've noticed as I've done these with you that I'm sore later on, especially in my core. I'll feel it like in my lower tummy down here or in my upper abdominal region. And I'm like, oh, wow, I really did work them. And it's just, it's a great feeling, but I hope that you guys feel it too when you leave these workouts with me, you know, that you got a good workout in. All right, so jumping back into it, so very simple, the weight above the head, and we're just gonna work the right side. And let me see, I have this down. We're gonna do this 15 times, and then we're gonna alternate sides, okay? All right, so we're gonna do it the right. If you want, you could keep your hand here. Sometimes I like to keep it on my stomach or sometimes at my side, whatever makes you feel comfortable and on balance. So we're gonna go 1, and you're gonna take this 15 times, and you're gonna keep this weight above your head. This is a good time to focus on something if you have balance issues, or if you just need to stay focused so the weight doesn't fall. And if you guys need to break it up for yourself, you can do 3 sets of 5, that's fine. I'm just gonna go to 15. I know this doesn't seem like much, but you're gonna feel it in a couple minutes. Come back to that phrase, whatever it is in your head. Whatever that positive mantra is that you're saying it, say it out loud, say it to yourself, or say it in your head. So I'm gonna take it 5 more times. Excellent. So now if you need to, you could drop the weight, drop whatever it is you're holding, or if not, drop your arm. And now we're gonna switch over to our left side, same exact exercise, except weight's gonna come to the left hand, or we're gonna shift the weight now. We're gonna come up, we're gonna bring it above the head. Again, make sure you have a good grip so that even a water bottle doesn't fall on you, because it does happen to people if they're not paying attention or if the weight is too heavy. So again, hand comes here, we're gonna hold it, deep breaths, and we're gonna come up now. We're gonna hold that weight, and I want you to focus, keep that phrase in your head, whatever it is. And we're gonna come up. Very simple, but very effective though. Two more, guys, and that'll make 10. And then we're gonna finish out strong. We're gonna do 5 more. All right, that's number 10. And 5 of 15 total. Excellent job. All right, so before I switch it up and get into our next exercise with weights, I actually want to do this a little bit faster now, just to kind of amp the cardio of this session. So we're gonna take our weight still, we're gonna lift it above our head, and the same thing that you were doing, except you were doing it with one fluid motion on the right, one on the left. We're gonna alternate now, we're gonna pick up the speed. If you have a weight that's above, I wanna say 2 pounds, drop your weight and just lift your arm up, okay? So if you have something that is above 2 pounds, please put your weight down, because I don't want anybody to hurt themselves. In this case, it's only 16 ounces, so I'll be okay. But again, if you have a 2 pounder, that's fine. Anything less than that, that's fine. If you have more than 2 pounds that you're working with at home, like when you're not with me, please drop your weight. Okay. So we're gonna come up now. Again, that weight's above my head. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna, and you guys are gonna follow along until I say stop. All right, so we're gonna go 1, 2, and for me right now, another good thing that you could do, you know how I have my hand here for balance purposes, or just to do something with my hand. You could bring your hand out now, like this, and you can touch. Very simple. So that same exercise now, you can amp up the speed now. You have your consistency, you have your discipline, you have your focus where you know the weight's not gonna fall. So now what you do is you have a target in front of you. You focus ahead. This force here is up, it's not gonna go anywhere. You trust yourself and hit that target now. So we're gonna take this, and we're gonna do 10 now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more, 10, excellent job. All right, so I'm not done yet. So that's something I really wanted to do with you guys because it's very simple, but it's effective. Your heart rate's gonna come up, your breathing's gonna come up. Switch over sides, we're gonna do 10 more with the same thing. We don't have a target in front of us, so we're gonna hit it. So weights up, straight, focus, hand out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Excellent. So probably one of my favorite workouts today was probably that, because it works out everything. And it forces you to focus and to be disciplined on something ahead of you and keeping your body grounded. All right, so the next thing. Okay, so weights alternate. Okay, so if you guys are familiar with kettlebell swings, they're probably one of my favorite workouts to do. We don't have kettlebell swings. Again, we're getting creative today. If you need to take a water break, please feel free or use the bathroom. So because this is a little bit bigger, I'm going to utilize this for my demonstration, and then I might go back to the water wells. I haven't decided yet. If you're familiar with the kettlebell swing, it's a really effective workout for your core, and it's actually a full body workout. So what we're going to do is, this is not a kettlebell. I'm not pretending this is, but for these purposes, that's what we're going to do. So if you're familiar with it, a kettlebell looks like a big weight. It's a big weight, and it's got a lever that looks like this. So it looks like this, like that, and you hold the weight, and then you drag it, and you go up with it. So for these purposes, I have my block, or in your case, if you have your water, or even your little baby weight, it's fine. Whatever you have, or if not, just follow along with me. So we're gonna get into our tree trunk stance, very nice and wide. And what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna pretend this is a kettlebell, so I'm gonna hold it like this for me. If you have a weight like this, what you can do is you can hold it like this, hold it like this, whatever makes you feel comfortable. Just don't throw the weight. All right, so I have my weight here, right? I'm in a very nice and wide stance. My legs are loose. We're gonna come down. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna drop. So the weight, as we drop, the weight comes back, it goes under me. And then as I'm coming up, I'm swinging it up, and I'm coming right back down with it. Swinging it up, and right back down with it. And that's why we did earlier in our workout, we did the warm up with our legs, with our thighs, with our inner pelvic muscles, just because, again, this is a lot of squatting. It's a lot of almost inverse activity, because again, we're doing full body, but you are using a lot of your lower, we're doing full body. Our focus was upper body, and it still is, but we are using a lot of our lower body today. We're not seated, so, and not just doing like the traditional, just upper body weights. So again, we're gonna do our kettlebell swing with our pretend weight. We're gonna drop down, we're gonna come up. Very simple. And for this too, I like to keep my knees bent. You guys know I'm really big on that and being fluid. Don't contract all the way up. You're not supposed to do that on weightlifting. Always keep your body nice and loose. If you need to bounce a little bit, bounce a little bit. Or not, just bring your body a little down. I don't want you up like this. I just want you nice and down, okay? All right, so we're gonna do that 15 times. All right, on your mark, let's go. Remember, keep your phrase in your head. Take a deep breath. Remember to breathe during this part of the exercise. I'm on number 11. 4 more. Excuse me, 13. This is number 14. I'm gonna just even out my stance a little bit because I notice I'm leaning toward the right. If you have to fix yourself during your workout, please do it. Don't think you're locked into a position. Fix it, modify it, and do it correctly. So I'm gonna drop down on my last one. Excellent. All right. So I'm gonna walk it out a little bit so my heart rate's up. Just don't want to stop for a second. Or you can walk, please. It's a good opportunity to take a couple breaths because now I feel it like. All right, so we're gonna get back into that position, wide stance. Gonna hold our weight. We're gonna do another 15 more. Okay. So again, my body's nice and loose, lower body's nice and loose, we're mobile, we can move. All right, so we're gonna go down and we're gonna do 15 again, okay? Remember during your kettlebell swings or during your box swings, whatever you like to call them, remember to breathe. And if you can, because it's a little bit harder when you're focused on your breathing and your form to hear the phrase in your head, but that's the best time to do it because you're challenging yourself mentally and physically all in one go. All right, let's do it. It's 15 more, guys. 1. Whew. See, guys, that's why I say always stay mobile and watch your form so you don't get off balance. All right, so we're going 2 for 2 with the iPad today. All right, you guys got like a 2-second break out of that. If you didn't know, a little notification popped up about Pinterest. All right, so I think I was on 3 or 4. All right, so we're gonna get back into it. See, but distractions happen in life, so it's how you come back from, that's all that matters. All right, so we're gonna drop our booties and come up. Okay. All right, we're going 3 for 3. All right, so I'm not sure if you guys saw black just now. Sorry for any technical difficulties we've been having. If you have, just please finish out your set of 15. That's 30 total. So finish off strong. Take a sip of water. I'm gonna do that now. We're gonna do a brief time check to see where we're at. All right, so we're coming into our last 10 minutes. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna finish out with our weighted exercises because I really like these. I think these were great today for us. I'll be using them in future workouts. All right, so we did our kettlebell swing. I think what we're gonna do is to finish out our workout strong, we're gonna do a little bit of everything in one set. So you're just gonna follow along with me to the best of your abilities. We're gonna start with the kettlebell swing and you're just gonna follow along. So when I switch it up, just follow with me. And it's gonna be in this last exercises that we did. It's gonna be one of the 3 that we did. So it's either gonna be your weight above your head and you're coming up, or we're gonna drop into a kettlebell swing. We're gonna come down, take it nice and slow if you need to. Again, your form is the biggest one here. Your conditioning will come as you do it with more repetitions. So just follow along with me. We're gonna do 10 and we're gonna mix it up, okay? So the first things first. All right, we're gonna bring the weight above our head, hand up, and we'll do our target. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 20. Excellent. So we're gonna bring it up. Whew. So I have my hand out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right. We're not gonna let technology ruin our workout today. So we're gonna go on the right side or we're gonna do 10 on this side. 1, pin it. If the camera goes dark, just go to 10 with me. Excellent. Kettlebell swings. We're gonna do 10. Wide stance, mobile, drop your booty down. Go to 10 if the camera stops. On number 7, guys. One more. Excellent job. And our last things that we're gonna do is, with our weight now, we're gonna actually, for our last exercise for today, we're not gonna use this. We're gonna do one without the weights. So you're gonna get into a basic stance, nice and light. And what we're gonna do is, we're gonna bring our hands for this last exercise, in our last couple minutes. I'm sorry to everyone for the technical difficulties. I don't know what's going on. All right, so for our last cardio workout today, that's how we're gonna end it. We're just gonna do stuff without the weights. So we're gonna come up, hands up towards the sky. We're gonna pull down and up. And you're gonna follow along with me. So we're gonna go one, almost like a seat, almost like a standing crunch. So we're gonna go hands up, we're gonna drop them down. So the same thing principally what we've been doing, except all right, just continue to follow along with me, okay? So again, we're gonna have our hands up like we're reaching for the sky. And when I drop them down, they're gonna go into a fist, and we're gonna bring it down. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come from side to side. And we're gonna do 5 on each side. So 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. Last one, 5, and 5. Excellent job. All right. So now I'm gonna do a little walk in place. And take a sip of water. We're not done yet, everybody. Just keep up with me the best you can, all right? And now we're gonna come up, and we're gonna do pull-ups. Well, not the pull-up with the bar, but something I named pull-ups. So we're gonna come up, and we're gonna lift our bodies. So we're gonna come up like almost like we're grabbing on a bar. We're gonna lift our legs up. Okay. We're gonna take this 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. One more set. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3. 2 more. 1, 2. Excellent. All right, everybody. So being that we're in our last like 6 minutes, we're gonna do one more set of kettlebell swings, and we're gonna end it there without the weights. So you're gonna get into your sumo squat, excuse me, tree trunk position, wide stance, no weights this time. So we're gonna come up. If I drop our booties down, we're gonna come up. We're gonna pretend like we have this weight. So whatever it is, whatever you're carrying, you're gonna hold it now. So whether it's dead, it's doubt, it's hurt, we're gonna hold it. Seven more, okay? So visualize whatever it is in front of you that you need to hold, and you start utilizing it to make you stronger. Okay. Remember, come back to your phrase. 7, 3 more, guys. 2 more. 2 more, let's go. Two more, everybody. Excellent job. All right, so now we're gonna come home. Let's take it nice and light. We're gonna jog. Take a deep breath as you do it. And let go of that pretend weight that you finished with in your with your kettlebell swings. Drop your weight, whatever it is. Doubt, finances, past, regret, whatever it is that you carry to get through that workout, let it go. Drop it. Okay. Coming back home to whoever you are. You're coming home to you. Whether you're a mom, you're a dad, you're a godmother, aunt, a sister, come home to you. Leave everybody else here, you're here with me now. So we're gonna finish out. Like, we're gonna focus on our breathing now that we're coming to the end of our exercises. Couple breaths in, bring it back home. I want you to expand your chest now. Bring it back home. Big inhalation in, bring it out. All right. Okay, and now for this part of the exercise, again, we're dropping into our cool down. We have 3 more minutes. So again, we're gonna come down now. We're gonna sink into our bodies a little bit, so just follow along with me the best you can. I don't know if the camera's gonna cut out again, so we're gonna come back to something we did earlier at the beginning. We're gonna come up, so you can follow along, even if the camera cuts out, just follow along with me. We're gonna stretch our bodies out, and we're gonna come forward. Down. We're gonna hold it for a couple of seconds. We're gonna come up, we'll turn. Remember to breathe. We're gonna turn. Gonna come up, back. Take a deep breath. On our way down, we're gonna exhale. And come out. It's almost like you're a bird. You're gonna fly your arms out that way. All right. That body's nice and loose. We're gonna come up now. Again, we're gonna just stretch a little bit more. Hold that for about 5 seconds. Again, I apologize to everybody for the technical issues. Something out of my control, but we're just gonna work with what we have. Again, that's the whole point of getting creative today. I remember we're gonna come back. Remember, hand out over, pull down gently. All right, so we're gonna finish out today with our lower body stretches, and then we're gonna do some breath work on the floor. We're gonna come up, just gonna take my heel now and just press it into my butt. It's sort of like a heel to butt stretch. And this is gonna do the hamstrings. Oh, excuse me, not my hamstrings. Sorry, quadriceps. Front muscle, guys, not the back one. Just do our little quad stretch. So we're gonna come up, down. Remember, heel to butt, and hold it. Excellent job. We're gonna drop to the floor real quick. Considering that today we've been interrupted, I think about 20 times. Another good stretch. We're gonna bring our, if you're seated on the floor, come up. Bring it, my right leg is gonna come over. And I'm gonna twist this in this direction. Get real close with everybody. All right. Again, come over, twist in this direction. If the camera should cut out again, guys, you're gonna do the same thing and you're gonna alternate legs, okay? So my body's positioned this way. I have my right leg over my left, and we're gonna turn. We're gonna hold it now for a couple seconds. My hand is flat on the ground, okay? Okay, last one. Left leg come over. Wrap it over my right leg now. Left is over. My left hand comes out, and we're gonna turn. This is great for the back too. We're gonna hold it in this direction for a little bit. Take a deep breath. And now I'm gonna get into my little crisscross applesauce. We're gonna take a couple deep breaths. All right. If you haven't logged off at this point, thank you for staying. All right, so I know that we're over time, but I was interrupted a lot, so we're just gonna bring it back home for a second. Come home to yourself, close your eyes, take a couple deep breaths with me. Remember, come back to your phrase, whatever it is. Mine was undisciplined. Take a deep breath, let it out. We're gonna take that 4 more times. Deep breath in, hold it, let it out, whatever your phrase is, undisciplined. Number 3, let it out, whatever your phrase is, bring it back home to you. 2 more breaths. Okay. One more breath, guys, and then we're gonna end today's class. We're gonna let it out. All right, and with that, everybody, I'm gonna end class.